Ari Aster's newest film, Eddington, has hit theaters, and he has stepped up his game from weird, disturbing horror films to a movie that tackles in detail both sides of the American political divide, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and conspiracy theories, all from the perspective of a cop over the backdrop of the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic. What on earth could go wrong? If that intro sounded like a lot, that's because this movie tackles a lot. It never shies away from any subject and isn't afraid to get its hands dirty in the nitty-gritty mud of American politics. That's really to the testament of Ari Aster. He expertly walks the line of not going far enough to offend anyone, but just going far enough to show everyone exactly how wrong and right both sides of the political aisle can be. I walked away from this movie feeling a lot of different ways about a lot of different things, and not many movies can do that. Some can do it by being provocative just to provoke. It talks a lot but says a little, but not Eddington. It has a very distinct voice that lingers with you long after watching. One of the things I love most in this movie is the truck that Joe Cross drives around. He has a bunch of signs talking about how important it is to vote for him, and there's a sign on his car that so brilliantly says, "You're being manipulated." But the "your" is spelled Y-O-U-R, which is obviously incorrect grammar. What I love so much about that is that it's pretty much as on the nose as Ari Aster gets in the whole movie. He's essentially saying that these people who claim manipulations and that these string pullers are committing some grand conspiracy, but they can't even get simple grammar right. I thought it was such a small nugget of potent filmmaking in a really dense movie. Another specific I loved is a certain character named Brian, and not to go too far into any spoilers or anything, but he's a fairly staunch conservative at the start of the film before his peers kind of make fun of him, and so he completely flips and becomes one of the leading protest voices in the town, yelling the loudest and, I don't know, protesting the hardest. Anyway, he becomes one of the faces of protests in Eddington, and yet he's only doing it because he wants to get with a girl. And so when that falls through, he's right back to his far right-wing ideologies. And I thought that was such a smart way to show that in America, the loudest voices are almost never the strongest voices, or even ones that have their motives aligned with what they preach. And putting a bow on that political aspect, I hate when you can walk away from a movie and feel alienated by a specific filmmaker's views that clearly contradict your own. I hate when you can walk away from a movie and feel alienated by a specific filmmaker's views that clearly contradict your own. And I think a lot of times that can come off as belittling and condescending to a certain point, which can really impact your view of a movie. And then the people that agree with the movie say, "Really? You're going to dislike a movie just because you disagree with its politics?" And then you have to say in response, "No, I dislike it because the director condescended me and made me feel bad about the name that I check on the ballot box." And it's not just one side that happens to, it's really both. All in all, I walked away from Eddington not knowing where Ari Aster's biases are, what he believes, and frankly, for a movie that deals so heavily with these delicate subjects, that's a fantastic thing. Another reason I loved this movie is how vividly it takes you back to only 5 years ago. We're not quite far enough removed from 2020 for us to have to look back like in an 80s movie and say, "Oh yeah, I remember that," but still, it is completely immersive in a time that just about everybody in the audience can remember. We are less than 5 years removed from all of this, and even less so removed from its ramifications, which still can be felt today. But Eddington really does a phenomenal job of capturing what it was like to drive around, go to the store, scroll on social media, just go about daily life in the early COVID months of 2020. Like, there's one scene that I specifically loved that really hit me hard, not in any emotional way, just with its accuracy. A character is scrolling on Twitter, and the posts are just a mishmash of crazy tweets, George Floyd tributes, Donald Trump headlines, COVID conspiracy theories. I mean, it really is as immersive as it gets. I can't really praise that aspect of the movie enough, so we'll shift gears and talk about the masterful performance from Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, it's probably my favorite performance of the year so far. This is a guy with both some right and some flawed worldviews, which is pretty much everybody on planet Earth who feels he is just trying to hold his town together from what he feels is a terrible mayor, and then he goes home to a marriage that he feels his wife is destroying. It's all about feelings and perception of certain things, which make it so much more gut-wrenching when you see him hit his breaking point and go into a typically Ari Aster bonkers third act. Does it go a little bit off the rails and teeter on the edge of going too far? Sure. But doesn't every Ari Aster movie do that? Yes, Eddington is so satisfying because it's such a slow burn for the first hour and a half that really shows you these characters, shows you what they're about, and usually that would kind of clue you into their fates. Like the characters who are obviously wrong will probably die, and those who are clearly right will probably end up being the heroes that wind up in power at the end of the film. But no, just like in real life, the outcomes are almost completely random. It's like Ari Aster spun a wheel to decide who gets what, no matter their worldview, which I just love. If I had to name a problem with the movie, it's with Pedro Pascal. It's not like a joking, like, oh, I wish we could have seen more of him, but I genuinely feel he was underutilized as a character on a very fundamental level. He has some of the best scenes in the movie, and I have no doubt that given more screen time and fleshing out, the film would have been better. One more little nitpick I had is that I really don't love Emma Stone's character. She's not in the movie a ton, but for what she is, instead of being a person with some quirks like everybody else in the movie, she is defined by her quirks. There's nothing human about her to really connect with. And that was disappointing to see from such a talented character writer like Ari Aster. Oh, and also, that shot of Joaquin Phoenix getting dragged to the toilet at the end of the movie. I mean, why? Why make me see that? I mean, in a movie with gruesome deaths and horrific moments, that's the one that made me look away. Overall, Eddington is not a movie that wants to make you feel a certain way. It takes you on a journey saying, look, see how stupid this is? Now look over here, see how stupid that is? It's really a movie that I think everyone could get something out of. I think Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro Pascal turn in some great performances, and Ari Aster steps it up in every way from what I thought was a disappointing last outing with Beau is Afraid. Anyway, my final score for Eddington is an 8.3 out of 10. I know this is just my opinion, and I do want to hear yours. Did you like Eddington? Did you dislike it? Do you think it went too far in any ways? Not far enough? I really do want to hear it in the comments below. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this, and God bless.